What is up, everyone? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It's Denise Salcedo. It's April 4th, Friday night. Of course, we're back to our normal time slot. And with me is my co-host, Robin Lundberg. Robin, dang, first of all, how are you?
I'm good. SmackDown did us a favor with the programming this evening.
They definitely did. I'm just going to go out and say that the first thing I want the message out here to be is that this was the best 3-hour SmackDown of the 3-hour SmackDown era. Like, by far, Robin, I felt like pretty much every single segment on today's show delivered on in terms of everything moved the story along further heading into WrestleMania. This felt like a WrestleMania worthy edition of SmackDown. And secondly, the closing segment of the night with Roman, Seth, and Punk and Paul was my favorite moment heading into the build-up, during the build-up of WrestleMania, believe it or not. My favorite moment. We got so much to get into, Robin.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with the emphasis on WrestleMania because it felt like the card came to fruition tonight in a lot of ways. You know, we can go to the main event and really they hit home there. But the card as a whole felt like it took shape. It's like, oh, okay, you got this. Oh, okay, you got this. Oh, okay, you got this. And then at the end, it's like, oh, okay, you got that. And I love the segment last week, actually, building towards this week. They are cooking with grease when it comes to this triple threat match. And, you know, it's hard not to when you've got some of the best performers in the history of the business in a variety of ways. I mean, and you're involving a figure like Paul Heyman, who's such a central character and such a good character on screen. But yeah, that really worked. The storytelling dynamics of it really worked. And Roman Reigns is so damn good. He is so charismatic. He is so funny. Every time he's on screen, it feels like a bigger deal.
Dude, all right, so let's go ahead and kick it off with that because that whole saga of what we saw play out was just absolutely top tier stuff. I was saying at the end of my watch along, Robin, I know the kids are always throwing around the word cinema, right? This is cinema. This is cinema. I have to agree with them. I'm gonna have to steal that word. I'm gonna have to use cinema to describe this a segment here. But let's see. This is what went down. So the show opened up. Of course, we're in Chicago. Kick things off with CM Punk. He goes out there. You know, it's just, oh my God, so passionate, so energetic about the fact that he is main eventing WrestleMania, right? Like you could really feel, Robin, his excitement for this moment that he's been waiting for, you know, over a decade, right? And so his whole career, you can argue, right? Anyways, so Paul Heyman goes out there and is trying to get CM Punk to tell him what the favor is. And Punk tells him, I want to tell you what the favor is once Roman Reigns is actually here. And the whole night, 2 different times, we were seeing Paul Heyman in the parking lot waiting for Roman Reigns. Of course, Seth Rollins came first and then finally Roman Reigns. So you can see that throughout the show, Paul Heyman's anxiety levels were definitely rising. So finally, we get to the closing of the show. Roman Reigns goes out there and he's like, so I hear, you know, CM Punk wants to do his little favor thing, right? Seth Rollins comes out first, which I thought was a smart thing to do. I think they needed to bring Seth out first and definitely not after CM Punk. So I was anticipating Seth's arrival at that moment. However, while Seth was talking, everybody was saying, what's the favor? What's the favor? They were chanting, what's the favor? They were chanting for CM Punk. Basically, you know, they weren't interested in anything that Seth Rollins was saying. Now, of course, this is Chicago, but truth be told, Seth Rollins is unfortunately the third wheel in this scenario. CM Punk finally gets there, and what unfolds is him kind of giving a background story as to why he's asking Paul Heyman to be in his corner. And he tells them, and Roman tells them, just say no to the guy. Like, you're going to say no. And Paul Heyman's like crying. His eyes are like twitching. Like he doesn't know how to, like, he's just full of and overcome with this insane emotion. And Roman is kind of mocking him because he's crying. He's like, are you crying? And Roman finally, Paul finally says no, but he says no to Roman Reigns, meaning that he is going to be in the corner of CM Punk at WrestleMania because that is the favor. Robin, I know I threw a lot at you right now, but top to bottom, how did you feel about the way that they told this story?
Well, I mean, Roman coming out first and marching to the ring with authority. Usually he goes very slow, so you could see the emphasis on the moment there by the speed he went to the ring. And then I love some of his lines. He's like, "Oh, he's from my town, so I got to root for him." And he's like, "You hear that? Your city is chanting for the tribal chief." And then the look of annoyance every time Seth Rollins becomes involved, and Seth, calling back to WrestleMania last year, sort of trying to lay the groundwork for why he's involved in the storyline altogether. But as I've said, this to me is the beginning of the build to what is going to be one of the more epic feuds that in recent memory, or maybe beyond that, in ever, between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And and Roman's kind of right in the sense, right? Like, why would Paul Heyman say, if he is loyal to his tribal chief in that way, why would he go to, I know he has the background with CM Punk. We understand, the history there. But if I'm Roman, I would be like, bro, that's not, that's then, not now. And that's an official break of trust, right? Like, that's the first domino to fall in what is surely going to be the saga that's unfolding here.
Dude, I mean, this felt like a love affair. That's really what it felt like. It felt like Paul Heyman was torn between two lovers and he didn't know which one to pick. But at the end of the day, like, you got to be a man of your word. Like, CM Punk came through when they needed help at War Games. He came through and he helped them out. So at the end of the day, you got to honor that favor. And mind you, Paul Heyman had already said yes. He had already said yes before the favor was even thrown out there. He had said yes during that parking lot segment that they did. So I think for me, the thing that I loved the most about this was just the pure, raw emotion. One of the things that I think we've talked a whole lot when it comes to pro wrestling, and pro wrestling fans know exactly what I'm going to mean by this, is that we can always tell when someone believes what they are saying, when someone believes what they are doing. If someone is cutting a promo and they're spewing all the words, right? They're reading they're saying the promo verbatim, right? They're doing what they were rehearsed to do. And sometimes that just doesn't hit. To me, the way that with the way that this ending scene unfolded, it felt so raw, so authentic, and you don't get that every single day. And that to me was personally my favorite part of all of this, was that it felt real. Like, it's still real to me, damn it, legit applied in this scenario because of how well everyone played their role. Roman was the Roman that we were kind of seeing when he was, on top of the world, right? Where he had his Ulafala, he was the leader of the bloodline, had his championship. We kind of saw shades of that Roman today, a little bit more so than the last couple of weeks or months. I feel like this was the Roman of back then, is what I felt like, kind of mocking and condescending, that kind of Roman Reigns. We saw CM Punk being the ultimate, I'm kind of I know I'm a little bit of a jerk for putting you in this spot, but damn, I'm going to get what's mine kind of position. Seth Rollins, I thought, was great in this part of the whole segment, because he was just literally had a front row ticket. He almost seemed like a fan just watching the drama unfold, where he's laughing his ass off at these guys who are involved in such emotionally invested in what's going on between them. This doesn't really hurt him. This is all about them and what they're doing. So I thought that Seth Rollins did a really good job in that. And then Paul Heyman was the MVP of this segment. Paul Heyman was, if I was about to give a best actor award, it would be to Paul Heyman, because the tears, he genuinely looked to me like he was hurt, and he was hurting for the fact that not only did he have to break Roman's heart, but also he's still kind of in love with his, best friend, is what he's saying, in CM Punk. So I don't know. I think for me, it was the motion, Robin, that really won me over. And that's what I've been wanting to see. And that's what I think that's why I said that this was my favorite segment that has occurred in the build-up to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think we saw that Roman last week and through this week, that that he's just better as that heel. He's just not meant to be a baby face and whatnot. And he did lean into that. I think his performances on screen the last 2 weeks are the best since he lost the championship. Really, like that's the Roman Reigns that captivated all of us. And yeah, Paul Heyman, he is struggling there because he does love Roman Reigns. He has been the wise man to Roman Reigns. Think about how many years that's been, but he's also invested in his own oath and loyalty and moral code. So he understood the gravity of saying no to Roman and that things may never be the same. That's why the emotion's there, right? Like because with those two letters NO, the at that one word, the things may never be the same between the wise man and his tribal chief, and he could be kicked off the island of relevancy.
Robin, he stole his lover and is making him watch.
Yeah.
That's what's happening at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, but it's like, damn. It is brutal out there, man. It is brutal. I'm really, I loved the segment. I thought it was great. We got so many super chats about this, so let's get right into it. And also, shout out to Shelf Presence, who had also literally right before this sent in this super chat as well, saying Punk's favor is the wise man in his corner, maybe. And that's pretty much what we were anticipating, by the way. And let's see. We do got Crew Kid 52. This is actually in regards to Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, which we'll get to in just a second. He says, right story. Wrestle Talk reported WWE tweeted out the end of the segment, but later deleted the clip, likely because they saw a problem with their comments. Okay, we're going to have to circle back to this in just a second because there's a lot to dive into that. But we got Megan's an AEW sicko who says, missing SmackDown tonight at Indie Lucha in Portland, Oregon with Masha Slamovich. We'll catch SmackDown with the post show later. You rock, Denise. Thank you so much to Megan, by the way. And you're going to have a lot of catching up to do for sure for SmackDown this week. We got Jacob Tatum here who says, thoughts on Rey Fenix debut and entrance music. We'll get to that in just a second. Let me circle back. We got Heidi Ho here who says, Tiffany and Charlotte need to just be doing pull aparts. Lol. Keep them off the mics. It's still Tiffy time, though. We got Saif Dun Super who says, Ludwig and Andrade sitting in catering with the fuck me. What am I going to do? 50 Cent meme after that Tiffany Charlotte promo. Heidi Ho says, rip to Ludwig Kaiser also. And Dan Lutzka says, Paul is turning on Punk, going to Rollins. I don't think so, by the way. I had heard this theory a couple of times. I am not on board with this theory. Robin, are you on board with this theory?
I don't believe so. I think eventually, again, as I've saying, we're laying the groundwork to an extended Roman and Punk feud, but I am curious to what Seth Rollins' role in the whole thing is, right? Because it feels very similar to last year where it's like, all right, Seth's kind of like, why is he there? You know, but the why for why he was there was huge last year. You know, when he came in and he was the shield for Cody Rhodes. So I don't think it's unintentional, his involvement here. I'm not guessing that that's going to be the payoff, but there is going to be something with Seth Rollins involved. But it feels a little out of place because if he goes to Seth Rollins, why is Punk and Roman then happening? And I think we all want Punk and Roman to happen, and the biggest reason for that to happen is Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I do not want to see this. I do not want to see a world where Paul Heyman goes with Seth Rollins. I think that would be it's almost like dissing the story that we're seeing right now with CM Punk and Roman, because that's the story. That's where the interest lies. And there doesn't seem to be a benefit for Paul Heyman to go and jump to Seth Rollins. Like, why? Why would you do that? Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. That just feels super it's not what I don't think that would be of interest. And I hate to say it, like, even though Seth Rollins is feeling like the third wheel, I hate to say it, but he is the third wheel. Guys, this is the interest is between Roman and CM Punk. We have known this from the very beginning. You just, that's where the interest is at. Again, if CM Punk was out of the picture and this was Seth and Roman, great. People would be enjoying and respecting that. But right now, it's like that meme where that guy is not looking at his girlfriend and he's looking at the other girl. That's what it is. Right now, the other girl, the hot girl, it's Roman and CM Punk. That is where the interest is. This was a match that, Robin, you and I, months and months and months back, we're talking about how this was always going to be a marquee matchup whenever it happened. And I was anticipating for it just to be Roman and CM Punk. I didn't think they needed to add Seth Rollins to this. I feel like they added him because there was really no other maybe direction they thought for him to go in. And that's what so your question of like, where does Seth Rollins serve a purpose in this, and where does like his story fall in line? I don't really know. But as a fan, I'm mainly just focusing on what's going on with Roman and Punk, and that seems to be honestly what I might mainly care about.
But I don't think they just threw Seth Rollins in for no reason because they didn't have any other use for him. Because again, I think Punk and Roman needs the build, like to just like all of a sudden it's the match at WrestleMania is rushed. But for the magnitude of what that's going to be and how long that can play out for, that's something you can carry out for. I'm guessing that's one of the main events at SummerSlam. This is a 2-night SummerSlam, the first ever 2-night SummerSlam, New York City, New Jersey, actually, but MetLife Stadium, and that to me as one of the top billing on that card is just a massive way to sell that. And if you just all of a sudden were like, oh, it's Roman and Punk. Now, yeah, it'll be great. No matter what, they're going to make magic. It's going to be great. But I think the proper way is to, lay the foundation for that feud. I am curious to how Seth Rollins plays into it, but I don't think, because I would have thought the same thing last year. And then it was masterfully told the way that he was involved. I mean, it was
Look,
poetry when Cody, when Roman hit him with the chair, and that's what cost him against Cody. So I think between his history with Roman and his history with Punk, one or both of those things is going to play out in the course of this. And maybe he's also involved in the slower, longer build to the eventual one-on-one matches between Roman and Punk.
so look, I hope you're right on this, by the way, because I do want to see Roman and CM Punk at some point. I feel like if we don't get that, we're going to be completely cheated. So I really, really hope we see that at SummerSlam, because at some point it needs to happen. It's a money-making match. The fans like it, and look at where we're at so far. So I definitely think that's the way to go. Dan, thank you so much. We got Anthony Giuliano here who says, I'm doing something special this month in wrestling, and you, Denise, will have the breaking news first when it happens from me. I'm super excited. Anthony, keep me posted. Whatever you're doing, best of luck. We got Jacob Tatum here who says, who is your favorite to win the gauntlet match for the challenge? Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez for the tag team belts. And what would you do with Randy after Kevin Owens' announcement about his neck injury? So, God, this SmackDown's loaded. So I do want to get to that, by the way. So there are reports that came out earlier in the day that it was looking like Kevin Owens was going to be out due to an injury, and that maybe the match was going to be off between Randy and KO, right? And really, we didn't really have anything else to go off of that. And so Kevin Owens comes out, and they had shown a shot of him like walking to the ring and he putting his head down, and people are like, okay, like, is this legit? Is this not legit? What are we supposed to think? And Kevin Owens goes in and he basically says, like, I'm really sorry, but it turns out I have a neck problem and I'm going to be having surgery. Like, it's a lot more serious than we really knew. And so he says he's sorry and he apologizes and he walks away. Randy Orton comes out, and so you're thinking like, okay, maybe it is a swerve. Nope. Kevin Owens walks off. Randy comes in and Nick Aldis tries to address like, hey, what are we going to end up, what's going to be your WrestleMania match? And Randy ends up hitting him with an RKO. So now I'm sitting here going like, dang, I was really hoping that the Kevin Owens thing was a swerve. However, as much as I would like to be optimistic, I do believe what Kevin Owens said about him being out due to his neck, having to have neck surgery. I'm heartbroken for Kevin Owens because a neck surgery is one of the most serious things. Of course, we still don't have, full details on it, and everyone is, different on a case-by-case basis, but this is heartbreaking, Robin.
I mean, no doubt. Look, Kevin Owens is fresh off a masterful match against Sami Zayn, one that will be remembered, and obviously those two guys have a history. So that's a nice, good note to leave the fans on for now. But it's the price you pay when you put your body on the line. I mean, that goes for anybody in professional wrestling. It especially goes for somebody like Kevin Owens, who is in the mold of the Mick Foley's, as far as a bump taker, as far as somebody who has really, really risked it all for the business. And you never want to see anybody go through anything involving their health. You never want to see anybody go through something that can hinder their career and all of that. And so the thoughts go out to Kevin Owens, but I think, it's like when people say you go out on your sword in a sense. I think the respect from Kevin Owens is real and earned, and I hope he knows that too, because people do view him and think of him in that way. So no matter what happens with him in the future, and we all hope he returns to the ring, of course, what he has accomplished is set.
No, you're 100% right in that. And it's just one of those things where when he had mentioned that, he had a great, like, last couple of WrestleManias were really great for him. Like, yeah, like, dude, like WrestleMania 38 faced Austin, then won the tag team titles with Sammy, WrestleMania 39. Like, dude has been on a roll. So it's a bummer that we're not going to get to see him, wrestle Randy Orton. But of course, your health is first and foremost. But the other thing was, dang, with a neck injury, you just never know what the future looks like. Will he return? Will he not return? And if he does, how many years will go by? Like, it's just a lot. Like, it really is a lot. And, again, as more comes out of this, we'll have more information. But as of right now, I guess that's really about it. And it's just really unfortunate. So now, with that being said, on the topic, who faces Randy Orton?
I mean, I was so unprepared for it.
Right.
I haven't.
At first, I thought they were going to do him and Nick Aldis when he hit him with the RKO. That was
Yeah.
honestly like my first instinctual reaction.
Who's not? Is there somebody of note that's not involved?
People were saying, what about like Malachi Black, right? You know how they've been teasing that stuff. And I'm like, I guess, but I don't really know. It doesn't really feel concrete. I don't know.
Yeah,
And I mean, no matter what, whoever comes in and wrestles Randy is going to feel like it's not going to be like a big deal unless it's someone like absolutely amazing.
What about Sami Zayn?
Some people brought up Sami Zayn, actually. That's been another theory. And I think that would be a good one, actually.
Yeah, I'm assuming the aftermath of the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match is, what's led to, his status right now. But as far as of somebody that could step into that, has the gravitas to step into that, and could make it work, and it makes he could say, I'm this is what happened to me, and I'm filling the void. Of the options that are coming up in my head, Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right on that. And then in terms of the gauntlet, I actually don't know. I haven't seen the full list. The thing that kept throwing me off, though, was that I saw that Lyra and Bailey were in it. And I'm like, yo, they have a match for the Intercontinental Championship on Monday, and they're already announcing them to tag in this tag team thing. What? I was a little thrown off by that.
The graphic. I need the graphic. There was a big graphic.
Yeah, I know. I was actually waiting for the graphic right now in a second, but I'll pull it up in a minute. I'm just a little bit behind with my graphics at the moment. Sorry, guys. Cue the you fucked up chants in the chat. All right. We got Steven Marchuli here who says the build's A+, the match A+, Seth eats pin though. Again, I don't know. I think the scenario that I want is if CM Punk wins, I want him to pin Roman. If Roman wins, I want him to pin CM Punk.
And yeah, I mean, I think that could totally happen too, because maybe Seth is vindictive enough to just want to screw CM Punk out of the main event regardless, right? Maybe Roman is still so consumed with Seth that he loses his cool for a second to go after Seth, which allows Punk to capitalize a la last year. I mean, there's various scenarios because of Seth. This is where I'm saying I think Seth's involvement with the two of them is going to come into play somehow.
We got Terrence Matthew here who says Seth almost killed Roman, and Seth and CM Punk have been feuding for a year. I mean, look, it's true, though. We've already seen Seth and CM Punk do all that they can do, and it's been great. There's been great matches. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Thank you, Terrence Matthews. We got Saif Done Super here who says, feels like Seth politicked himself into this feud. I don't think so. I don't believe that. No. Thank you, Saif. All right. With that being said, several of our other super chats were about another big moment that happened on SmackDown. It's crazy enough. I was actually surprised to see that the first several super chats were about this topic, but let's get to it. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. So, I mean, God, this has gone like in a totally different direction than anything I was anticipating at all with this feud. Like everything that I thought that this feud, how it was going to play out, I have been so wrong on this. So Charlotte and Tiffany, as we know, had an uncomfortable promo, split screen promo last week, and she got basically eaten up alive by Charlotte. And people, including myself, are like, "Damn, Tiffany Stratton needs to get redeemed. She needs to redeem herself." And I thought to myself, like, the only way she's gonna get redeemed now, Robin, they can't do another split screen. They can't do another backstage. They can't do any of that. It's got to be dead center in the middle of the ring. And they did that. And here's the thing. Tiffany did so much better than the split screen interview that they did. But what really helped her, though, was the crowd, because the crowd was massively booing Charlotte. I mean, she could not get a word in, Robin, at all, because the fans, she was just getting a tremendous amount of heat. And so Tiffany threw in a bunch of different shots, right? Called out the differences of them between when they were both 25 years old. She called out a lot of different things. But the most memorable portion of this is that afterwards, Tiffany Stratton brought up Charlotte Flair's divorces. Her 0-3 record, I think is what she said. And that's because, she's been divorced 3 times. And at the end of that, Charlotte said something about Ludwig Kaiser, which is Tiffany Stratton's boyfriend, being in her DMs. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, what is happening here? Robin, what was your reaction to this? Because mine was, what the F is going on?
Mine was, this is the best thing that could have possibly ever happened to this match in this feud. I don't know what's true, what's not true, what's, but it cut through, right? Like
Yeah.
it cut through. It built heat. It built anticipation. It made people care. It made people invested. And Tiffany Stratton got that line off. I think Charlotte had just said that, more or less. Yeah, I think I don't remember. I was scrolling past and I saw her do like some sort of confessional where she said she messed up again, or she lost, heartfelt, because I mean, look, a divorce is a big thing to go through, so it's not something to take lightly, obviously, but it was weaponized by Tiffany Stratton and it worked. And then the DM thing after, you're like, whoa, did that really cut out a cord? Where are we at right here, right? Like, are we Raw? On SmackDown. So I think to me, that's whatever people speculate about, if it was part of the way the promos were supposed to go or off the cuff. It made Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair a bigger WrestleMania match, and that's what matters to me as a fan.
I think coming out of it, people are like, damn, they really hate each other, right? Like, this got nasty, this got personal. And that was my same reaction, Robin, because after that line that Tiffany hit about the records, the divorces, I thought, okay, it's just going to be Charlotte, like, damn, looking down, looking upset, maybe throwing the microphone and a shot of Charlotte, right? But the fact that Charlotte threw in that additional line, that's the part that has me going, okay, now, so was this not planned, or is Charlotte just that damn good in making us think that she legitimately got pissed? Because a lot of people are reading that like she legitimately got pissed. I'm reading that as she legitimately got pissed. So either she really did a job well done, or she legitimately got pissed. I don't know. Which one is it?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Like, it really doesn't matter whether either way, it's effective. Whether, either she was tremendous at her job, or she was, broke kayfabe, or whatever you want to call it. And it was real heat. I mean, she got real heat going into it. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me, because it got the job done. And finally, it felt like something between them didn't come off lame and flat. I mean, a lot of what it been done. I've been anticipating their match. I had no doubt that their match was going to come through, but all of the promos and build had been kind of cringe. And this one wasn't, whether it was because it crossed the line, or whether it was because they made us think it did.
That's exactly how I feel. And by the way, going back to Crew Kid 52 super chat from earlier, he had said that Wrestle Talk reported WWE tweeted out the end of the segment, but later deleted the clip, likely because they saw a problem with their comments. See, I have not seen that. I've been streaming the whole time during SmackDown, so I haven't gone on to WWE's Twitter account. I have no idea what's going on there. So I'm gonna have to look at that afterwards. Or Robin, if you can pull that up, that'd be great. But I just don't know what's going on with that. So again, if this was not planned, holy shit, right?
Mhm.
Drama. Now, if this was planned, but they're making us like second guess ourselves, even better, right? Even better, especially if they do something like this because they know fans notice everything, okay? They legitimately, they notice everything. So if they do want to trick us, swerve us, I can see them doing something like taking something down, clipping something out. I don't know. But Crew Kid 52, thank you for that. All right. So with that being said, yeah, Heidi Ho's comment was also Tiffany and Charlotte need to just be doing pull aparts, keep them off the mics. It's still Tiffy time though. See, here's the thing, like this, I don't want to say keep them off the mics because of what we got today. And I agree with Robin that this did make the feud a million times better. I mean, look at it. So many people wanted to talk specifically about this feud. Thank you so much, Heidi Ho, for that super chat, by the way. All right. And I believe, let's see. Anthony Giuliano says, Denise, did you the screenshots of Charlotte DMs? They did post it. What? What is going on that Twitter account? Okay, if they posted screenshots of any sort of DMs, then that was 1000% planned and is part of a storyline. I really hope they did not post no screenshots.
I'm looking. They have a clip of Tiffany up talking to Charlotte. I don't know if it's the clip in question, but I don't know what other clip they would actually have. As far as the DMs, I have not seen that.
Yeah. Okay. So we got Heidi Ho here who says Lash and Jakara not being in the women's gauntlet is a weird decision. Well, they are NXT talent. I gotta pull up that whole list, by the way, of everyone who's in the gauntlet because they did not leave that graphic up long enough for me to look at every single person. All right, but we'll circle back to that there in a second. I want to go back to the other super chat that we had from I'm sorry, give me 1 second. It was in here somewhere. Oh, there we go. Jacob Tatum. Thank you so much, Jacob. And this is another big thing that we got to talk about. I'm telling you, they give us a lot today. Rey Fenix officially made his debut, and Robin, my jaw dropped when I found out, or when I saw rather, that he was going to be facing Nathan Frazier. Nathan Frazier, who is one of the fastest guys I've ever seen. Robin, I don't know how often you get to check out NXT, but Nathan Frazier is just like, he's so fast. So I was instantly like, oh shit, like here we go. And so the match I thought was really good. I thought it looked great. He did performed well. The promo afterwards was very emotional, very nice to see. I was a fan. Loved the entrance, loved everything. How'd you feel about Rey Fenix's performance?
Well, I like the fact that he didn't squash him too. It was a good, and Frazier kicked out of something. I was like, where he had, how'd you kick out of that? So they gave him a little bit of love there for the NXT audience and for him, obviously. But yeah, a strong debut. They didn't fumble it. He looked good in the ring. He got his big moves off in the ring. No complaints. I mean, we'll see where it goes from here. But as far as you only get one chance to make a first impression, a good first impression.
No, I agree with you. And like that's the thing. In the beginning of the match, for a second, I felt like they were giving too much attention. Like the match felt like it was more so about Nathan Frazier for a second. And I'm like, I kind of want to see Rey Fenix do a little bit more, show his flair, show what he can do, right? And then finally they started doing that, and that was fun. I think Rey Fenix is gonna get over so well. I'm so excited to see what he does. It's interesting that his next match is gonna be against Humberto. It doesn't really feel like a massive match whatsoever, but maybe that's just really the only options that they had. I thought it was interesting too that Santos Escobar did tell Angel Garza and Humberto that they're not looking all that. So I did think that part was interesting too. So we'll see where they end up playing out from here. So anyways, great job to Rey Fenix though. I was so happy for him getting this moment, this opportunity. Robin, I think at this point I have interviewed Rey Fenix like 5 different times, and I believe like in 2 different promotions, honestly. Because dude, I mean, they've been hustling. The Lucha Brothers, they have been hustling for years, man. They're businessmen. They're out there. They're working very, very hard, making names for themselves. I don't know. All you got to say is like respect to them because they're finally gonna, be getting the reward for all of the years hard work. So I'm very, very happy for both Rey and for Penta, of course. With that being said, oh man, all right, we got a couple more super chats. Let's see. We got Bob Ross Jr. here who says, Seth Rollins laughing while we technically witnessed a Kardashian type breakup is diabolical. That was my favorite Seth Rollins moment in the lead up to WrestleMania 2.
He's like, I told you so too, right? Like he hates CM Punk with every fiber of his being. So he's taking pleasure in the man he hates doing why, or showing why he hates him to another man he
It's
hates.
your two enemies. Your two enemies, right? Like, isn't that great? Like it's the saying, right? The trash takes out itself. So
Yeah.
for Seth Rollins, that was like his perspective of that. Like they just taking themselves out. Hey, I don't gotta worry about this. So that was really fun to see. We got Anthony Giuliano who says Kaiser said he wanted a Ric Flair autograph and was the only time he was in Charlotte's DMs.
Oh, Kaiser said it.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that afterwards. Thank you, Anthony. We got Jacob Tatum here who says, which Mania match are you most and least excited for? Most excited is, of course, that what do you call it? Triple threat match with Roman, Seth, and Punk. That's the match I'm most excited for. The match I'm least looking forward to that's officially been announced. I don't think there's one just yet. Maybe the tag team match, only because I don't even know who Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are gonna be facing. That's
Is
kind of all my only answer right now.
Logan Paul, is that match official?
Oh, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, yeah,
Yeah,
that's official.
that doesn't do that much for me. It'll be good though.
Which match are you most looking forward to?
Same as you, triple threat.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
great.
which is impressive because I thought the Cody Cena promo from Monday was badass. So to be able to be above that is saying something.
I think so too. I think so too. Thank you, Jacob. That was a great question. We got Heidi Ho here who says SRS tweeted that Charlotte and Tiffany went heavily off script. Oh shit! If Sean tweeted that, then obviously I take Sean's word for that. Let me actually go see what specifically Sean wrote because I'm gonna want to know that for sure. Give me 1 second, guys, while I pull up Sean's tweet. Okay, here we go. So Sean Rossap tweeted 7 minutes ago. Everyone I'm speaking to believes that Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton went heavily off script. Yo,
Messy.
dude, that kind of makes. I'm sorry. Are we terrible people for living for the drama?
I mean, no. I mean, look again. Ultimately, it's better for the product. Like that's what I said. Whether it was that or that was the script, it made the match better, made the build better, made the feud better. So they'll get over it.
The wild stuff. I love it. All right, Heidi Hope, thank you so much for letting us know that. That's great. We got Bear Hudson who says, can you guys settle this debate? How should Aleister Black be used when he returns? And should his first feud be with someone to make him look credible? Definitely, because if you're bringing someone in, you're investing the time in them. So you obviously want them to look credible. You don't want to bury anybody right when they come in, right? And make them slot them or make them look like they're not impressive. So I would definitely say you build him up, you make him look good and see where he goes from there.
And that's why I wouldn't have, somebody suggested that Randy Orton, you don't feed him there. I think Randy Orton is on a main event-ish kind of trajectory at some point again. And that's where they were headed with the Kevin Owens thing. This wrinkle in that changes it perhaps a bit, but that's not where that was a suggestion. I think it was brought up earlier in the show. But if you're trying to make an impact and make a jolt, you don't want to then even if it's a credible opponent, you don't want it to be like a quick loss first right off the bat.
I feel ya. We got Hallie Potter here who says the only thing Seth was missing was some popcorn yell for reals. Dude was living the life. Thank you, Hallie Potter, for the super chat. All right, with that being said, we got a couple more items to get into in regards to SmackDown. This was a loaded one. LA Knight defeated Tama Tonga. So Sikoa tried to get involved, but it didn't know no favors. LA Knight wins. But the big thing that we really do got to get into in regards to that is that there was a last man standing match between Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman. Did a couple of big spots. Did I say LA Knight? I'm sorry. I meant to say Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman. I think I said LA Knights. Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu in a last man standing match, and a couple good spots in there, but Jacob Fatu gets the win. So now he's the number one contender to LA Knights. And come on, Jacob Fatu is about to get that US championship at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he's getting strapped up. I could see that even being a squash. That would be interesting. If it was right, and I like the finish of the last man standing match. I like the way that it came because I had to rewind. Did Braun get up in time or not? Like it was one of those. And then
I forgot, Robin, that it was a last man standing match. I don't know why. I just forgot. Like I got swept up in the action.
Yeah, and then I realized at the end of the show, knowing that I had to do this, I was like, "Oh, I'm actually a few seconds behind because I rewound to see if Braun Strowman stood up in time or not." And so I like the finish, and yeah, I mean, it makes sense to give Jacob Fatu that big moment, that big victory at WrestleMania.
Dude, I feel you, man. I'm so ready for it. It's crazy though that like Solo Sikoa isn't like having a match at WrestleMania. Like if you would have asked me this months ago, I would have assumed Solo Sikoa would have had a match at WrestleMania. What if he oh my god, I just thought about that. What if he cost Jacob Fatu the match at WrestleMania? Oh, I'm gonna hate him so much if he does that. He's probably gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense too. Now that I think about it, which
No, I don't want that. Why did I say that? I take it back.
but your reaction makes me think it's a good idea.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no.
it's like
Please
it's like
God,
Cody
no.
losing to Roman the first time around. Like you
No.
want those reactions. I want you to
No.
feel that way.
Robin's here for this tragic Shakespearean endings. Like, you like a sad story at the end.
No, I just like people to be invested and care when you feel like emotion. Like that's why I've always said that Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker was a great move. People still talk about it. Like otherwise, people still argue and debate about it. It means it was an awesome move. Same thing with Roman beating Cody that time. It made the payoff for Cody coming back around matter more. This is on a lower scale, of course, but yeah, I feel like that reaction that you gave shows me that it's something.
Don't do it. Please, for the love of God, do not do it. They're probably gonna do it. I don't know. All right. With that being said, we got Naomi. Oh, by the way, Naomi. Yes. So Naomi was attacked by Jade Cargill in her entrance, but not enough so that the match didn't happen between her and B-Fab. It did happen. Naomi did defeat B-Fab, and then afterwards was attacked once again by Jade Cargill. And so a bunch of security guards came out, and I was so happy that Jade Cargill took out all the security guards too. I was thrilled by that. She took out the security guards, and then Adam Pearce came out and, or was it Nick? I always forget Adam. Nick Aldis, excuse me. Nick Aldis came out and made the match official for WrestleMania. So Jade Cargill and Naomi is officially on TV on WrestleMania.
And I was excited when that got announced because it feels like it matters. It's had the right build. Naomi's looks great. That's been pretty much flawlessly executed. So it deserves its WrestleMania moment, and it's earned it. And both of them have get a chance to put on a show. And I feel like I care about it, right? Like it's not like it's just going to be something on the card. It's going to be of import wherever they slot it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Howie Potter says, Denise, how could you? I know. I'm sorry. Please forgive me out there, Jacob Fatu fans. All right, we got Anthony Giuliano here who says, Denise, will you ever take a bump in the ring? Definitely not. My bump card is 0. Thank you, Anthony. All right. With that being said, we did have some promo works from Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, 2 vignettes that they did. Good promos from both, man. Drew McIntyre brought back his I prayed for this and it happened moment. He alluded to that. Damian Priest basically tells him that he's always crying and acting like a victim, but at WrestleMania, he's going to become his victim. Effective. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Anything that stood out to you between Damian and Drew, and specifically today?
No, I mean just more of a build towards their match. I feel like we've kind of gotten there with them, and they need to get into the ring. And no shots, but it was a little bit overshadowed by everything else.
Yeah, especially because it was like a backstage kind of a segment. So yeah, I mean, not even a backstage, a vignette. That's what it was. So I think that's why it sort of got overshadowed there. All right. With that being said, I think we only got one thing left to talk about. Am I missing anything? It's really just the tag team match, right? The men's tag team match. I'm not forgetting anything else. Motor City Machine Guns became the new tag team #1 contender. So they're going to go on and face the Street Profits. Did you care, Robin?
I mean, I think the way you said that said it all. So
I know.
I'm not going to
I
pile
have nothing
on.
to add, so I'm going to pass it over to Robin.
I'm not going to pile on. You were like, yeah, there was one other thing I really don't want to talk about, but it did happen.
I know. I'm sorry. All right. And I think I got everything on the show. So, man, I'm telling you guys, it was a loaded edition of SmackDown today. By far their best 3-hour show. So, Wow. Alrighty. Well, there you guys have it. We are on the road to WrestleMania. So thank you so much to everybody who tuned in to the SmackDown watch along, the SmackDown post show. You guys are awesome. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. But before we go, Robin, please tell the people where they can support you and your work.
Yeah, Robin Lundberg over on YouTube. Women's Fast Break on SI. Indiana Fever on SI just launched. You can follow me on X. And Raj, I've been saying this, my son, but I've made the vow to him. We are starting our wrestling channel. Probably launching around WrestleMania. Makes sense to me at this point. Juncture, we'll figure. Rohan also wants to be a part of it, the youngest. I got to figure out the dynamic of how that's going to work. But that is, he has been asking me. He says he's serious about it. And it is my duty as a dad, despite my busy schedule, to make sure that that indeed happens. So be on the lookout for that too.
Yeah, you guys got to do that. Like a father, son, like,
Yeah.
moment, like review, however you guys decide to like do a split screen. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun to see though. Very, very cute. Alrighty, guys. With that being said, thank you guys so much for the love, for the support. Do not forget to keep checking back here for daily content, guys. Daily videos are going up every single day. Thank you guys so much. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Eat.